Three bold predictions for the rookies 2026 fantasy football. Sadiq goes out and has one of the most impressive tight end combines, and so does Stowers. We talked about this on the earlier show. And I'm going to add this to the two rookies. Travis had a good idea to throw Sadiq in. I was going to do a wide receiver show, but let's just throw them together because this guy is going to go to the moon. Sadiq is not going to be slept on anymore. But the truth of the matter is he could be so much better than even the high expectations. Like, he is really good. Even going back right now when I was watching for the last, 20 minutes, watching all the combining stuff over again, just to focus on Sadiq, focus on everything. This guy is unbelievable. And I even went back and watched more of his college footage just to delve more into it as you know, it's going to be talked about a lot, this guy. And he just moves he almost moves like a running back. It's pretty crazy. There is a chance that he does become, we talked about it earlier. Travis asked, how high do I have him? And I said, he could be in the Loveland and Fannin and also Tyler Warren tier. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking at all if he was the number 3 or 4 tight end, number 2 tight end. You could say number 1 tight end in fantasy football a year or two from now. He doesn't have a limiting factor or some concerning, just good, but he'd need a great spot. He truly could be the most polished tight end. Now, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and start calling him better than Bowers or better than McBride. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when McBride and Bowers entered the league, high expectations. McBride entered the league, a lot of people liked him. Some people didn't know who he was. He was definitely not the biggest prospect ever, and look how good he is. Sadiq could do all the things McBride did in terms of, getting groomed and maturing in the league. So you can't just call someone what they are as a rookie and expect them not to grow or have upside. And you can't just call someone that has a lot of upside somebody that's going to grow. You don't know. 3 bold predictions. 1 Sadiq, 1 on Tyson, 1 on Tate. The Fantasy Football Show Rookie Edition, Graveyard Edition begins right now. File on in.
You're watching a
Graveyard Stream.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
These 3 guys are going to be marvels. And I know I said I was not going to have as many rookies on the board this year, and I won't. I certainly won't. But we knew Tyson was going to be on the bold predictions board. And I forget, do I have him on the Moon Man list? I forget if I even do. Let's copy him in case I got to throw him over.
The Moon Man.
I don't know that we did put him on.
Shuttle to Mars.
Yeah, there he is. Okay. So Tyson was put on there February 13th.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly. And
I do believe Tate's going to crack the board. I'll probably put him on the Moon Man list. I'm going to tell you right now, Sadiq will be on at least the Moon Man list. In fact, probably more Mars-like.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars Man.
We'll put him on here. And as I was saying,
loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
We'll open the phone lines in a minute here too, so we can talk about this. Travis, you can call in if you're there, because Travis wanted to talk about this tonight. So there's so much upside. The thing that I want to say, probably as I thought about the question when we got off the air during the 8 p.m. show, and I thought about the question, and the thing that I want to say about Sadiq is he's so safe. His floor is almost right at the bottom of Tyler Warren, Fannin, and Loveland. That's where his floor is. And his ceiling's unknown. His ceiling's untapped. So I truly believe, why does it say running back? I don't know why it says running back. I have to figure out why that did that. Let me see if I can try and fix that graphic in a minute. For now, I'll just put this over it so you can't, so it doesn't distract you. Okay. He plays like a running back. He gets the ball. He looks like a running back, but his floor is so high. It's probably higher than Fannin's. His floor, mainly because Fannin's embedded in the Cleveland system, and I think Sadiq does go somewhere probably better than Cleveland. It's most likely. You never know, but I do believe there's not much worse situations than Cleveland. So Sadiq is got just a higher floor. I believe he probably has as much upside, if not more, than Fannin and Tyler Warren, and maybe Loveland. Loveland's pretty solid. His ceiling is pretty good. His floor is pretty good too. I'd say Loveland's like a lock to be like 3 to like 7, 3 to 6, 3 to 7. That feels like a lock for Loveland. Dare I say Sadiq's right there. Now there's overlap. So when Travis asked the question on APM, where do I think he could be? Well, I think you need to be protective. This is what my answer was. Be protective in putting him right underneath Fannin, putting him right underneath, obviously, Fannin, under Loveland, and Tyler Warren and Fannin, you could argue. Tyler Warren, you could really argue above Loveland, but like quietly, like you're getting, if you did some sort of Loveland for Tyler Warren trade, you could get something in it. But the safe place to slot Sadiq would be under those three guys. But he's in that tier, as I said at 8 p.m. when Travis asked me the question. But I kind of feel like I'm inching my way towards saying, I don't even know what I would do if I was on the clock in a dynasty startup and I'm staring at Fannin, I'm staring at Sadiq. Because as much as I love Fannin, and we're a Fannin people, we invented Fannin on the channel.
Mashed potatoes!
We truly did. And you can't say invented Sadiq. We're not going to be able to say we invented Sadiq. He's a very, very big prospect. And he just broke so many. This guy ran 23 miles per hour. I think I got some of the data written right here. So 6'3", 241, big boy. 6'4", 239 Stowers. We'll talk about Stowers in a second real quickly. 4.3940, 23 miles per hour. I believe his vert was 43.5, if I remember correctly. Travis or anybody, can you look up the vert on Sadiq, and what did it rank second? What did it rank out of all players, Travis? The Sadiq vert, which I think was 43.5. And what did it rank across tight ends? I think it was second for tight ends, obviously. And then it was, I think it might have been second or third out of the whole group. Stowers had a 45.5 vert, number one out of all the players, period. And you start comparing these two guys to some of the greatest that ever did it. I saw something on Twitter a little bit ago comparing Sadiq's speed in these drills and some of the splits with Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, it's craziness, man. And Calvin Johnson, I saw Calvin Johnson and Sadiq comps on a lot of the different metrics where it breaks down everything by 10 yards, 5 yards, whatever. And you have Calvin Johnson and Sadiq lining up almost perfectly in some of the categories. I just think Sadiq, who is a Mars man as of this moment.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men.
And we're going to have to put a date on here just to make sure we're dating it here.
Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
The loads are definitely dropping aimlessly in space on this one. It's just, there's so much upside. And when you go back and rewatch it too, it's even more impressive. You know, rewatching, not only the combine, recap of just Sadiq, which you just get a better feel when you rewatch it in total, like one after the other scenario, instead of like watching it and you wait and you watch and you wait. You kind of don't get the same vibe. It's like watching an Instagram reel about somebody giving money to a homeless person and they didn't have anything and now they get a house. And if you take the music away, it's like so, so much different. When you have to wait for other things to happen and watch, like I really crammed and rewatched it before the show, and I watched a whole bunch more film, even though I've watched it till my brain's pretty much fried. I watch more, and it's like the more I watch Sadiq, the more I like him, and the more I watch him, the more I feel like I'm seeing things I didn't see the first time around. And the fact that he hit 23 miles per hour, let me tell you something about speed. Speed is one thing that is if you add it to an arsenal of other categories and skill sets, it's something that's almost undefeated. Like when you say a person can run 23 miles per hour in the settings that we're talking about here, like when Breece Hall was coming back from his ACL tear and I think he got to like 22 miles per hour. Like the speed can tell such a story if you couple it with a bunch of other things. And when Sadiq 6'3", 241, running a 4.39, running at 23 miles per hour, having splits that relate to Jahmyr Gibbs and Calvin Johnson, And you watch his film where he dominates defenders when they try and tackle him. It's not like we're just seeing speed. Like Xavier Worthy was the perfect and prime example, and I'm such a person against this. I can't believe I even got tricked by the Xavier Worthy hype. I even came out strong the first day, if I remember correctly, and I was like, guys, we got to be careful on this. And then it's just you slowly get pulled in, and you get pulled in. Never let a 40 time change your mind. Never let speed alone change your mind. But when you're looking at a player, and here's another example, if you want to look at like even something that hasn't even proven to be the case yet, but has shown very good signs. Christian Watson, loved Christian Watson as a prospect. Loved him. This is before he's drafted. And then when the speed and the combine and the workouts and everything was included, and it's like, oh my God, it was a cherry on top of what we already knew to be true. And it's like you see a 23 mile per hour, 6'3", 241 tight end that moves like the best example would be, I'm trying to even think of how he plays. You can't even say like an Antonio Gates because he literally runs like a running back. He almost looks like a running back when he catches the football, turns upfield, and treats it like it's not even like a kick returner. That's what the Egbuka came out of college, and what my biggest comparison to his skill set to some other type of behavior was that he looked like when he got the ball, he was returning a kick. And he wasn't just trying to get 4 or 5 yards, fall down, wasn't trying to pull a Tyler Lockett. He was literally saying he catches the football, Buka turns around, scanning the field, and he's returning a kick to the end zone. That is his objective. That's what makes Buka so good. Can't wait for Buka. Buka's going to tear it up.
I smell meatloaf.
All you Buka doubters are going to be just so sad later. But when you talk about a guy like this right here, and you try and analyze how he plays, there's just no one like him. I mean, you really can't even comp him. That says a lot. That says a lot, and it tells you might be looking at something special, a unicorn. And it's not one of those, oh, we haven't seen it, it's too good to be true, it won't translate. It's definitely the evolution of the tight end position. The tight end position is evolving. It's been the last of the skill positions, the 4 skill position players to translate immediately at the NFL level. It's taken some time. Brock Bowers translated very nicely as a rookie. It's starting to happen. And I believe receivers back in Larry Fitzgerald days, receivers didn't translate. They didn't translate at all. It was 700, 800 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns for a rookie receiver. Quarterbacks, they never started, remember? They used to sit a year. That's why you get people go, they should sit a year. That's old. That's your dad's NFL, okay? That's your dad's NFL. Today's NFL, you don't sit. If you're a top 1, 2, or 3 drafted quarterback, if you sit, your team's a moronic piece of work. Because no quarterback should be sitting anymore again. Ever. You draft a quarterback in the top 10 overall and you sit him, you're in an inept organization. Because rookie QBs are prepared and ready to rumble. And if they can't, as a rookie, they're not the right rookie. And you'll advance them so much further along playing as a rookie QB than you would sitting them and then throwing them out there and having your sophomore year be your rookie year. So tight ends have been the one out of the running back, wide receiver. I'm sorry, out of the running back, wide receiver, quarterback, and tight end. Tight end has been the one position that's still been lagging to translate immediately. Hawkinson, remember that, 100 yards and a touchdown, I think in week 1, didn't do anything the rest of the season, and then sophomore year blew up. You just like Fannin partial, Loveland partial. But I think we're going to start seeing it, and we can tell Sadiq's probably the guy that's going to carry that torch in, and then maybe set a trend of crazy, transcendence from the tight end position into the NFL. Now, it might have spotty year here or there, but it does feel like the tight end's being groomed differently at the college level, and Sadiq is the byproduct of all of that accumulation of different things. I'd probably say that your expectations should still be under Fannin, under Loveland, under Tyler Warren, but right there. Like, you're in a dynasty startup draft, you should not even hesitate in a dynasty startup draft to draft Sadiq right next. Or if you want to get crazy and draft him after Loveland, before Warren, and before Fannin, you're not crazy. And that's not even overpaying to the point where you say, yeah, you can't do that, though. You can. Don't draft him any higher than you have to, but if you got to reach a little bit to land him, I don't mind it. And Sadiq might have just climbed into the top 4 or 5 overall for the overall tight end ranking, or the overall rookie rankings, and we might be drafting him as high as we would Mekhi Lemon. So in Stowers, I'll even let Travis speak to Stowers in a minute. 6'4", 239, 4.5 vert. Travis, I'm going to go to you in a second, but just can you confirm what the vert was for Sadiq and what it ranked overall and what it ranked for tight ends? It was second for tight ends, right?
Yeah. Hold on, I had it a minute ago. So Sadiq had his vert was 43.5.
Yeah, 43.5. And that was second for tight ends behind Stowers at 45.5, correct?
Right.
And then what was it overall? Because Stowers crushed the entire NFL. The entire incoming rookie pool. Everybody. Stowers 45.5 crushed everyone. Just annihilated them. But was Sadiq still second overall, or what was he overall?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was second.
Okay. Let me know if you see that to confirm it. All right, let me go over this real quick, then I'll go back over to Travis. So Travis, mute real quick if you can. And Jesse, I'm going to hit your super chat after that, or in between. Here are my predictions. Sadiq ends up being a top 4 to 5 tight end in fantasy football. It's a bold prediction show right tonight, so I'm not saying draft him there, but Sadiq did enough tonight to really warrant that. I wasn't going to talk about tight ends. You can thank Travis for having this be a morph show because he wanted to talk. I was going to talk about receivers, and Travis wanted to also talk tight ends. So you can thank Travis for getting a little extra content here tonight. And it's good that we did because, this stuff's going to travel fast and might as well get this out now versus creating a separate video tomorrow. And so Sadiq, Stowers, I'll talk about Travis in a minute and the difference between the two and whether he likes Stowers better than Sadiq or Sadiq better than Stowers. Romario with the $20 super chat gets an immediate standing.
Meatloaf.
Just hang tight for me, boys, because I want to get this off my chest real quick. Jesse and Romario, I'm going to answer your super chats in 1 second. Rumble, appreciate you. My prediction here is Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate. I can't pinpoint it yet, and I'm not somebody that runs away from. We need to know where they land before we can really make an assessment. Because I'm a worried William and I'm a problematic Peter. No pause needed. I'm a problematic Peter, and I absolutely have to wait or I can't make bold calls because what if I miss and I look stupid? I'm not that guy, pal. I'm not that guy. But in this case, this might be an and/or statement. Actually, let me make it an and/or statement. One of these guys will be a top 7 fantasy football wide receiver in due time. Could take a year, might not. Might happen right away. Might be BTJ, number 4 or 5 type of finish. But one of these two gentlemen in their landing spot certainly dictates this, but I do believe one of them almost feels like a lock to go somewhere good. One of them feels like they could land in New York and play second fiddle to neighbors. Land in a situation where it's just, Olave and Carnell Tate, Olave and Tyson. You don't want Olave, but Olave could get hurt, concussions. It could really open the door at some point. So we'll have that kind of analysis after the draft. And if, let's say, Tyson did go to New Orleans, we'd have a glass half full approach, but we'd have an adjusted ADP and cost of entry, which would kind of sometimes wash. Like Tyson in Tennessee by himself is going to go to the moon and you're going to pay for it. Tyson in New Orleans, you're going to get at the dollar store, not necessarily, but you get my drift. And you still have upside that Olave gets concussed, never really, it doesn't, he ends up having like one of those years where it's like, oh, okay. And then he kind of starts to fizzle. Like it can happen. So that will be worth the cost of entry if that happens. Same thing with Neighbors and Tate. If Neighbors and Tate are on the same roster, you're going to get a discount, major discount, and you might still get a guy that produces a tremendous amount. I believe that Tyson Tate will produce one of them, and or really, but we're going to say one top 7 fantasy football wide receiver dynasty. 2027. Even at that point, 2027 could be the first year it produces like that. You're going to have cups of coffee and dancing in this territory with whichever one ends up being that guy. But my guess would be it's Tyson if the situation sees fit. And I love Tate. If Tate was in the ideal spot, he would definitely be a guy I freaking love. You know, like let's say somehow Buffalo traded up, or, you know, or let's say New England somehow traded up, or we just say Tennessee drafts Tate, or we say he falls just to the most ideal spot like Washington. They take him. KC, we get word that Rice is going to be suspended for the year because of his off the field continuation. You know, just I don't know if anybody's been sleeping under a rock, but he's getting looked at right now and could get suspended again. But I think Tyson can be CeeDee Lamb. I think he can be prime CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, I don't know how that rubs you right now. Might rub you the wrong way. But prime CeeDee Lamb, I believe, could be Jordan Tyson. I don't want to say Chris Carter because it sounds kind of reckless, and some of you might not even have remembered watching Chris Carter play, or he didn't play fantasy back then, but he was unbelievable. But this guy catches every single thing you throw to him. Now, so does Tyson. Tyson's a little more erratic, but he still pulls in almost every football that comes in his direction that's calculated as a catchable ball. They're both fantastic in terms of their catch rate, or their catch rate and their ability to pull in passes that are meant to be pulled in and deemed catchable. These guys are amazing. Tyson just comes with the speed, the size. Yes, there's injury risk, but they're weird injuries. It's not like you can sit here and say, oh, he's got soft tissue, Christian Watson hamstring over and over and over and over injuries. Not to mention, like Christian Watson, he suffered that ACL tear, which could have happened to anybody. But he hasn't really had these total lingering hamstring issues since they fixed the size of his thighs. One thigh was 30% smaller than the other thigh when they did they finally took a little examination. the examination that the Packers did on Christian Watson's thighs, they spent $20,000, I think it was over $20,000, to monitor his body and figure out why he's constantly getting injured. And this is before he tore his ACL. And they determined that one thigh was 30% smaller than the other. And it's like, how does someone not know that? How does this girl not say something? How does the coach walk in when he's, boys, there's a good game, everyone's getting dressed here, which is Christian Watson, what happened to your thigh? How did they need to spend $20,000 to figure that out? But I believe that this team needing to spend $20,000 to figure it out is the same kind of, I get sidetracked so easy, is the same kind of thinking that the Niners should be spending on why everyone's getting hurt in the power plant. But will the Niners do that? Who knows? They haven't decided to open up any sort of investigation. They just talk about it. But Tyson is going to be CeeDee Lamb prime CeeDee Lamb. Now Scribb says CeeDee Lamb is still very much in his prime. I'm not saying he isn't, but I don't know if you paid attention to why I said that. It's because people are a little in their feelings about CeeDee Lamb right now. So I'm just telling you to get into your memory bank and find the most prime version of CeeDee Lamb you can remember, because some of you are pissed off at him right now, and you're not sure if he'll produce with Pickens there. Whatever, that's what I'm trying to get at, bro. I'm not saying Lamb's getting old or falling off. So that's my prediction here tonight. Tyson, Tate, most likely it'll be Tyson unless situation flips that. Tyson will be the next CeeDee Lamb. And he is a mother freaking Mars man.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
I'm going to put Tate. I hate to separate them. If landing spot, makes them very, very close, we'll move Tate. We'll put Tate right now on the Moon Man list.
Loads in outer space.
And Travis, do you know when I added Malik Washington?
Space Monsters.
Gosh, dang it. I've been so good about adding these dates. Even a guesstimation will work. I don't think we're not going to stress over it.
Probably like the very beginning of February. A few weeks anyways, at least.
Okay, let's put it at
January, early February.
Let's put it at 2/2 for now. If anybody finds out what the date was, I don't know when. I don't think I have it in a graphic, but it's definitely been a little bit of time. It hasn't been like a week or anything. So yeah, I think you're probably right. And then Cardinal Tate will add tonight. He's going to go on here. What is it? 227. 227. So Cardinal Tate doing it live. Truly love these rookies. I know we said we wouldn't put a lot of rookies on it, but we're not really. I'm putting on one tight end, Sadiq. I'm putting on Mendoza's on there. I think I might take Mendoza off.
Dropping loads.
I love him, but it's going to take him a little time. I think he He can be like a mid-season monster maybe at some point.
Space Monsters.
We were kind of getting excited and just talking about that situation. I don't think he deserves to be on the Moo Man list in terms of like winning leagues and stuff like that. So I'm going to take him off. So that feels good. So we got Sadiq. We've got Jeremiah Love, obviously.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large.
Jeremiah Love is let's lower this seat here. Jeremiah Love is my number 3 running back in Dynasty. Genty's 4. And I love Genty. But Jeremiah Love is 3. So Jeremiah Love is on the board, the bold predictions board. He's on the Jupiter man right here.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large. Every planet in the solar system.
The Saturn men.
One small step for man.
Let's see.
One giant.
So we got Love.
The Jupiter men.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
We got Sadiq and Tyson.
Loads dropping and spinning.
The Moon Man.
And Tate.
Dropping
That's it.
loads in outer space.
So it's not like we put every rookie known to man on here. But these are all
Space Monsters.
These are all players, man. These are guys that are going to drop wattage onto the field, dropping loads all over the field. And the value's still there for all of them. You don't make the bold prediction boards, the space boards, if you're not value. Unless we're paying homage and it's just like, we put Bijan on before and he's getting drafted high. And you might say, well, why is Gibbs on there, Smitty? Because Gibbs is my number 1 overall player. And you're getting him at 3, 4, 5. And yes, believe it or not, ratio-wise, mathematically, you look at the fact that if he's getting drafted 4 or 5 and finishes 1, that's a tremendous value. It's just a different weight in the first round. Like if you're ranked number 12 and you finish 3, that's as impactful as being a 3rd rounder or being a 7th rounder and you finish like a 3rd rounder. So it's all relative. Freaking love Jahmyr Gibbs, but you have to be a bold producing monster from your ADP. Love getting drafted in round 2. He should be getting drafted at 7 or 8 overall. Tate and Tyson are going to explode as rookies, and Sadiq, he's going to be a top probably 3 or 4 tight end in the dynasty world. So back to, I don't know why I'm on that screen. Back to this. That's my prediction there. My prediction for Sadiq is just that he's going to be probably between 3 and 5 for dynasty tight ends. And we might get a splash of one of the top 3 tight end producing seasons we've ever seen, rookie seasons. One of the top 2 or 3 best rookie seasons ever with the potential to be the best one. Just because I feel like the rookie, let me explain this last part and then I'll turn it over to Travis real quick to talk about Sadiq or Stowers or both. But here's why this is going to make sense. It's not just because he's the guy, the best tight end to come out. He's not. I think Bowers was a better prospect, but Sadiq's certainly right there. It's because the tight end position is going to be more ready. And so for that reason, we're going to see Sadiq step in and be more prepared to deliver on 17 games than even Bowers probably was set up to. And we're watching Loveland and Fannin. I know this is just last year. We're watching Loveland, Fannin, and Tyler Warren kind of get in there. They're getting their beak wet a little bit. They're not quite fully versed, and then they start to fire on all cylinders. And you see Fannin and Loveland, boom, boom, and they start going. Sadiq's going to come in and probably hit the ground running, and that's going to allow him to be one of those top 3 best tight end rookie seasons we've ever seen. Even if he was a touch below maybe the talent level of a couple other tight ends that have come in that have not had that accolade. I just think that he just looks like, I always tell you guys it's weird. Some people call it weird, but you can look at somebody's bone structure. You can look at somebody's posture. You can look at the way someone runs. I can walk out onto a track and watch people jogging and warming up to race. I can tell you who's going to win. Maybe not every time, but like 9 times out of 10. I can sit down and watch a mile run, okay, at a track, at a high school, wherever, and I can sit down and I can sit there and track was my best sport. I could sit down and watch everybody warming up, even if they're just doing like quick little sprints and jogging and the kind of like bringing their legs up to their chest, high knees, and just moving around. I can literally tell who's going to win the race because of their form, their fluidity, their movement. They're not wasting movement. And it does come down to a science. Is if you're Bijan and you're cutting better than any other player out there, you're wasting less energy. You're making sharper cuts. You're getting from point A to point B slightly quicker. And it all just starts compiling and it cascades into a much better player. When I watch Sadiq play, I do feel like I'm seeing somebody that does it better, that's built in a way that just caters to the tight end position of today's NFL. And I see something really smooth about it. And then you come back to this 23 miles per hour data today. 23 miles per hour for a 6'3", 241, 439. This doesn't make sense. And when you watch him, and it doesn't, like I said, you can't just take Xavier Worthy, who's really fast. Maybe we should start drafting him. The NFL's going to take him now high because he ran a speedy 40 time. And that was us getting talked into liking somebody because of their speed. This is liking a prospect and then being told, oh, forgot to tell you he can run 23 mile per hour in a setting like this. Oh, forgot to tell you he's going to run a 4.39. Forgot to tell you his vertical is 4.35. And that was unbelievable. And then Stowers comes in and does 4.55. Just kind of like puts a shadow on Sadiq's vert. But Sadiq's vert was, if Stowers didn't show up, the talk of the town might even be just the vert of Sadiq. Like, holy 4.35, what are we doing here? And then Stowers goes, let me just cast a shadow over that. So all I'm saying is these things line up and add up to Sadiq being an absolute mother freaking, not only league winner, but NFL marvel. It could fall apart. It could get hurt. Bad quarterback could be matched up with him. I mean, hard to say, but man, you just go watch the film on him and you'll know what I'm saying when I say you look at LaDainian Tomlinson. He's got the built, the physique, and the exact look of a player that is going to be fluid. And you can see the fluidity and the motions, and Sadiq just has that fluidity. And that's the weird part, and what I love about what I do is I'm a big stat guy. I always joke around about how people say, Smitty, I know you're not a stat guy, but what do you think? I am a total stat guy. I just talk more than anybody else. I can't have stats all show long because I do a 2 or 3 hour show during the season every night. And then we do another 2 hour show at Graveyard. And we do another show. I talk more than anybody in the industry by far. And so I can't just crank out stats all day. Plus, I do consider myself more of a gut-driven eyeball test, type of analyst, even though I use tons of data to help support that. Like, I love Sadiq data, 23 miles per hour. I love Sadiq 40 time, 4.340. This is data that's helping 6'3", 241, looking at stats, looking at splits, looking at how some of his splits match up with Calvin Johnson. And also Jahmyr Gibbs in some of these splits. So there's data there. But the data supports the gut instinct and the eye test. And the gut instinct and the eye test says you watch Marshall Faulk play and you know he's the best player. If you walked onto a field and you saw Marshall Faulk take a couple carries, you'd say, hey, I don't know much about football. I've been in a coma for 25 years. You lean over and you go, but is that the best running back in the league? You just know. Your eyeball test, you can tell. So Sadiq is the best tight end on the field, and you just know it. You just know it. And so we'll see where he lands. I can't wait to see where he lands. All right, Travis, you're live. What do you want to say first? And good idea to bring both of them in. I think this 3 rookie prediction show is going to pay dividends, given that we're coming off the combine. This is the time where you need to strike for these picks in a dynasty trade. And so you need to have this information immediately. So it's a good choice. But go ahead.
Do you want to start with Ray G's super chat? It's relevant,
Thank God. Yeah, you reminded me. Romario first with a $20 hauler. Romario, Jesse, Samuel, and Ray G. If you're still here, please let me know. And then Ray G's is next because he was first. Then Samuel's is next. And then over to Jesse. So let me put these on screen. But Romario with the $20 super chat. Yo, what up, Smitty? Glad to catch you live. Been gone for some time due to work, plus blackouts due to the recent storm here in Massachusetts. Love the new logo. Thank you. Appreciate it. Here's the new logo. It does hit just beautifully. Jeez. I do love it, I have to admit. Thank you, Romario. Appreciate you so much for the $20 super chat. Standing ovation for you again for the 20. Ray G, I appreciate you, my boy. Ray G says the following. Is Ray G still here? Ray G still here? Hopefully you all four are here. Jesse, Ray G, Samuel, and Romario, can you please let me know if you're here? And Travis, if you see him, let me know if you see him. What team in the first 10 pick drafts Sadiq? It's a great question, and I'm glad you brought that up because we hadn't touched on that yet, and we talked about all this. The top 10. Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
I think there's two realistic ones. It would be Washington and Kansas City. I mean, you could say Tennessee, but I don't see him going in the top 5. But once you get down to Washington, I think it starts there.
Yeah, Washington would be pretty intriguing. Let me put Sadiq in the. Actually, let me get his new graphic while we're at it, since I have running back on there. Anyway, might as well just grab it.
I think he probably goes top 15. He's definitely going in the top 20 after today.
I think he goes in the top 10 now, but you never know.
He definitely could.
Because these times are just ridiculous. These numbers, all of the numbers, not just the times, the numbers are just so ridiculous that there's going to be teams that just they look at that stuff and 6'3", 241 is the geez, man, this is crazy. Just these, it's just insane. Let me see if I can put this up here real quick. Sadiq. His NFL photo looks a lot better than his Clark Kent photo. So you can see that I took his college photo, which is right here. Hold on one second. We'll answer this question as I just get this graphic up so I can put it on screen. But this Clark Kent photo he has right here. This one makes him look mean. Not like he's going to go hit the books and get like a perfect SAT score. This one looks like he's going to come out and crush you on the field. Sadiq. All right, let me put this right here and get this exported and over to my computer so we can drag his mug around. Travis, real quickly, Stowers. What do you think of Stowers before we start placing Sadiq on the board?
So, like, the difference with Sadiq and Stowers for me is Sadiq he's an athletic freak, which Stowers is too, but Stowers might have like better true receiver skills than Sadiq does in terms of route running and finding soft spots in the defense and stuff like that. Sadiq is insanely explosive and gets crazy separation. And I think with both of them, and I think the NFL is changing, like you said, where teams are just going to have to carry, two good tight ends to the point where, like running backs, all of them are starting to be able to catch a little. But with tight ends, there's certain guys like a Loveland, a Sadiq, a Stowers who are going to take time learning the blocking schemes of the NFL and putting on weight and all that stuff so they don't get overmatched. And even still, if you're 235, 240, it's going to take some time to figure out, the right technique, and you're still going to get overmatched. So they're going to have to scheme it the right way. So as long as they don't go to a team that's stubborn, that's like, oh, we're just going to make you a traditional tight end, then they're going to be really good.
Geronimo, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro? Are you lost? Are you going to even reply to this, or are you going to run away from it? Because this is wild. That are you confusing the show with another show? Guy says, same guy in here hating on JSN because they thought Darnold wasn't good. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, bro.
It started with.
You realize how high we were?
I don't think Lemon's a wide receiver one are crazy.
Bro, do you realize how high we were on JSN? There was probably no channel higher. Like it's so wild you'd walk in. It's like walking into a Jiffy Lube and being like, "Hey, Uh, I I bet you I like oil changes more than you. Like, what are you talking about, bro? At least answer for yourself. Okay, so Sadiq, I'll probably say okay, so let's just go straight on the board. There's no way he's going like in the top three or anything. So like Tennessee,
Right.
I mean, you never know, man. You never. I mean, to be honest, like it's not a bad. That wouldn't be a bad pick. Even if you move down a little bit, you could still do it. But like Sadiq catching footballs from Cam Ward, that could help him.
Yeah.
Giants could look to do it. I know people like Theo, but they could look Fannin. No way they're going to take him in. Actually, Cleveland's so
I don't think
inept.
Monken will.
You never know though. There's like they doubled up on everything already. They took two quarterbacks. They took two running backs. They're talking about taking a quarterback again. Like who the hell knows what they're gonna do? They shouldn't do it. Washington, it would be really good, man. JD5, it might give JD5 the balance
Yep.
he needs in the offense and keeping the defense honest. Like, can you imagine? Yeah, did he respond yet? No, he hasn't responded yet because he knows he's wrong. He knows he put his foot in his mouth coming in here and saying something when he didn't even know the actual facts. Because we invented JSN. My boy. Where was I? Sadiq in Washington, man, that could be perfect, really. Just imagining JD5, have McLaurin stretch in the field, having Sadiq as a safety blanket, just throwing these short passes, and JD5 is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. And if someone doesn't know that, you really don't know ball. You're using an injury and a falling apart season to define a player that, or a quarterback that has proven he's a pinpoint accurate gunslinger. So giving him a safety blanket that he doesn't need to be pinpoint accurate with, but he would be when you have McLaurin stretching the field and you could bring in an RB like Dowdle or whatever. Man, that would be unbelievable. And then Zach Ertz getting injured, and they did rely upon Sadiq and Zach Ertz, and they would rely upon Sadiq. Imagine JD5 loves Zach Ertz. Imagine what he'd do with Sadiq, man. That would be unbelievable. New Orleans, you never know. I mean, I wouldn't be my ideal spot, but I wouldn't hate it either. Casey, it would be pretty solid in theory, but it's not like Kelsey's going anywhere this year, and I do think he returns. So it kind of just it does what Casey always does with these guys we think are going to blow up right away, and then they just kind of somehow, some way don't feed them the way we want. What about Joe Burrow getting a tight end like that? I mean, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. I think I think Joe Burrow could. I think the Dolphins could, unfortunately, go after him.
Yeah.
Dolphins need to rebuild their defense more than anything, but we'll see. I think Tampa could trade up, maybe. Trade up from 15.
Yeah. Am I wrong? Okay, so let me read Geronimo or whatever the hell his name is, his response. See, this is where you're backtracking, bro. You're totally backtracking. You're being a backtrack Bobby right now. You come into my house and say something completely false, which everyone's laughing at because they know how high. That's like you're walking into the brake shop saying, "Do you know where I could get some brakes?" Like that's what's so funny about it. You don't even know why you're even trying to argue it instead of putting your tail between your legs and going home on the topic. Why you're even still trying to resist against something that everyone is telling you. Everyone is telling you that you're completely off base. Am I wrong, or did I watch a video of how Darnold was an overpay? Of course, Darnold is not the greatest quarterback in the world. And what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
What are you trying to? What kind of dots are you trying to connect? Can JSN be the breakout player he was, and Darnold still be questionable? Like, what are you doing? I'm done reading your comments because they're just wasting time and sidetracking me, and they make no sense. You're not even paying attention. What was I saying, Travis? Oh, Joe Burrow, right? Or did I say something else?
Yeah, no, we're just saying, since he could take him, I was saying Miami could take him. I could see Tampa trading up to take him.
I don't
Take
think
him
he
into
fall. I don't
college.
think he falls out of top 10. So like maybe Washington does it. It'd be.
I think he could just because of the defensive players in this draft.
All
But
right, let me hit these. Let me hit these
it'll be
supers.
close.
Ray G, thank you very much. Ray G, you still here? Samuel, please tell me you're still here. And Jesse and Romario, please tell me you're all still here. Okay. I'm not reading your comments anymore, Geronimo. You're just wasting my time. They're not worth it right now because you're bringing negativity and you can't even back up your negativity. And then then now all of a sudden I just barely saw what you said. Like my main take was, so now you're reverting to another take and you're dismissing your completely awful misjudgment of a guy that told you how good JSN was going to be and no one told you higher. Because I wrote it on a board and said top 4 wide receiver. But you aren't taking any time to look at that. And so now you're reverting over to, well, my main take was, Ray G, appreciate you. Samuel's still here. Thank God, Samuel. I'm sorry I kept you waiting. If Tate goes to Tennessee, Ward over Dart? That's a great question. And you know how much I can't stand Matt Nagy. And unfortunately, Hackett goes to Arizona. Matt Nagy goes to New York. They're probably 2 of the worst coaches in the league. And the only difference between Hackett and Nagy is Hackett's not calling plays, LaFleur is. And obviously, you're going to have Harbaugh doesn't call plays, so you're going to have Nagy doing that unless they delegate that and the OC doesn't do it. But it's a good question, man. And now you have the Giants talking about looking into running backs. Like, I have a feeling the Giants could screw everything up. I don't know. I'm going to say Jackson Dart. He runs. I like Cam Ward a lot. You get one of those wide receivers, it does change the landscape for Ward.
I think if Tennessee builds it right, which means not just a wide receiver, but the wide receiver, they get the line right. They have a lot to do. If they build it right, I like Ward better than Dart, but that's a lot of steps they have to take for it to happen. Whereas Dart, especially in fantasy, because of his running ability, he has
real quickly
already.
Geronimo, I know I said I was going to read your stuff, but it's like sitting right there. You have Malachi Fields over Lemon. Is he talking to me? Because if he's talking to me, I'm just going to block him.
No,
okay.
He's going back and forth with people.
Okay, because I was going to say now he's spreading another lie. If he's talking about me on that, and I was just going to say you're done, bro. You start lying about my takes over and over, you're going to be out of the chat. But if he's talking to someone else. If Tate goes to Tennessee, Ward. So yeah, Travis, if Ward gets Tate, what did you say? I'm gonna stop reading.
I still have him over. I still have Dart over Ward for now. I have to see more. So like in Dynasty, if it was a 1 QB and I had a good QB, and they take Tate, I might take the flyer on Ward over Dart if they build it the right way. Because I think as like standing in the pocket and being a passer, if everything's good around him, I think Ward's better than Dart. But in fantasy, you have to consider Dart's legs and the legs already around
I do think it's a great question, Samuel, and that Cam Ward starts to become a different Cam Ward. Like this is kind of when we say, like Tennessee. I don't love Tennessee right now, but if they drafted Jeremiah Love, it's a different Tennessee to judge. You know. So, like, if Sadiq goes to Tennessee, then it's a different Tennessee to judge. It's different Cam Ward to judge. And we can't judge him, off of not having that player yet until the draft passes us by. And if they don't land one of the top 2 wide receivers, Mekhi Lemon I don't like near as much as Tyson or Tate. So, even if they got Mekhi Lemon, I'm not, like, to the moon on Cam Ward. But if Cam Ward gets one of Tyson or Tate or Mekhi Lemon or Jeremiah Love, then all of a sudden Cam Ward is a totally different player. So it's a great question. Right now I'm leaning toward Dart, but Dart could get concussed or they could ruin him. Romario, you're still here, right? Oh, I read that. He did. Romario did hear my response, right? I think he did, right? Romario, let me know. Travis, if you see Romario, let me know.
Yeah.
Let me add DJ, mute yourself real quick. I'll be right with you, pal. Ray G, thank you for being here and asking that question. It's a great question. Jesse, you still here? Jesse, appreciate you. Sorry for the delay on answering these guys. We're in a rant. And assuming Tate and Lemon and Tyson don't fall within striking range, what wide receiver would you like to see the Bills pick? Yeah, they won't fall. I'll tell you that. Personally, love Zachariah Branch. I like him too. Hurst. I think the best receiver for Buffalo would be Boston, Denzel Boston, just because he's a big-bodied guy. Josh Allen could use that type of screw it, he's over there somewhere. Casey Concepcion, I like. Still a little bit, unsure, I guess you could say. But the truth of the matter is, if the blunt, honest truth, Jesse, I like Denzel Boston, but I like Malachi Fields more than Denzel Boston in terms of skills and my personal evaluation. But based on where teams, I think, view these guys now, there's more of a likelihood Malachi Fields would get drafted and they don't start him for a while. And then Boston, they draft him and they're trying to get him in the right away. But that could change with the tomorrow and workouts. Like tomorrow could change everything for Malachi Fields. I love Malachi Fields. Malachi Fields is a freaking gem just sitting in this wide receiver pool. But he needs to have somebody believe in him or it doesn't matter. So but the truth, Jesse, the brutal truth is that if Buffalo grabs a guy like even Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Zachariah Branch, and that's their extent of wide receiver upgrades, they failed. This should be an accoutrement to a Mike Evans, an accoutrement to trading for A.J. Brown, an accessory to grabbing one of those big name wide receivers, a Dunze, trading for BTJ, and also getting a Denzel or a Malachi Fields or a Boston. If they don't do that rookie with a big name player like Evans, a Dunze, BTJ, they have failed. And to not see that is head scratching to me. And no matter what, Josh Allen's a top of round 3 home run because he'll play like a mid to top of round 2 player. But if you draft him in Best Ball Underdog promo code Smitty right now, play that $10 big board. First place gets $200K. Play the $3 little board and first place gets, I think, $100K. If you can draft Josh Allen right now in the 3rd round and he gets Mike Evans, BTJ, Adunze, or equivalent, and Mike Evans even, guess what happens? Now you get a guy that's probably playing like a 1-2 turn player in fantasy football 2026, and you paid 3rd round value. So that's the beauty of Josh Allen is his team not upgrading his receivers. He's already priced in at that.
Just a quick comment on a couple of the receivers you talked about. Ted Hurst is interesting. He's going to be interesting to see at the combine because he's a pretty good route runner and he's 6'3", and
where you at, Jesse?
He's a guy who could jump up the ranks a bit. And then Zachariah Branch, I definitely want to see him at Pro Day and Combine because part of me worries he might be one of these speed guys because he went to USC and wasn't great. And he went to Georgia and got schemed into things and looked really good in the scheme. But, is he just one of these quick hitter speed guys that were really good in college? Or is he going to be able to translate to the NFL? Where like I said, Ted Hurst, he has the tools, but he just didn't quite, get as much focus because of where he was.
Yeah.
So I think the combine is good for these things. Some people say the combine, you can't learn a lot, but you really can.
Well, remember,
dig into it.
Yeah, my saying is always the combine should be a tool to enforce what you already think you know. Yep. And if you let it create a narrative that wasn't there, you're getting screwed by the combine. Just like preseason should never tell you about something that you don't already feel to confirm it. That's it. The preseason can screw you. You're just going to get caught up in a preseason game. And so there are always tools and they'll assist you on what you already know, but never let it tell a story or convince you to. Real quickly, is Jesse here? Jesse, I haven't seen you here. I hope you didn't miss. Hopefully he's still here. Jesse, let me know if you're here because I just responded and I want to make sure you got a response. Geronimo says, "Can we hear why you're low on lemon? I'm mind blown." Also, stop confusing disagreeing with hating. I've been here too long. I'm Ty Lee. Oh, Ty Lee.
Of course he is.
That makes a lot of sense now. Makes a lot of sense. I'm Ty Lee. Isn't Ty Lee the one that said he had video footage of Joe Burrow that would destroy him?
Yeah, his career's over.
Ty Lee, before I answer your question, we demand an answer on that. Do you have the footage? This guy, no wonder none of this has made sense all night from a bunch of babbling. No offense, Dramo. No offense taken, I hope. But this is the same guy that said, guys, I have footage on Joe Burrow from a defensive coach, I think it was, or D-back coach, that exposes Joe Burrow's weakness, that this like tell or something like that if the league finds out, Joe Burrow's career is done, I believe is what he said. Isn't that in a nutshell kind of what Ty Lee was?
I think in a nutshell, yeah.
So Ty Lee, before I answer your question that your mind's blown on, we need to know whether you still have this footage and why this footage is not out yet, Ty Lee, and why you changed your name to Geronimo. Yeah. Why'd you change your name? Why isn't this Ty Lee? I don't like this. I think you need to go back to Ty Lee. Ty Lee, we know what we're dealing with. Romario, thank you so much for the super chat. I think you're out there. I just don't think Jesse is he's the only one that hasn't responded.
No, Jesse just responded too.
Oh, thank God. Jesse, this is for you, pal. Standing ovation. I just want to make sure you felt taken care of because that's the worst thing in the world when someone super chats and I didn't get to them and they left.
Where's your mashed potatoes?
How about this?
Let him cook.
I smell meatloaf. Hey, Ma, the meatloaf. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. Jesse, get to the RV. Damn it, Jesse. Jesse, I am the one who knocks. Because we banned Ty Lee. So we had to use this account. I didn't
want to say it if we didn't, just in case we hadn't.
Yeah, Travis is being shy about it. Ty Lee, I standing ovation for Ty Lee's resilience to get in here on a different account and super chat.
And own up to who he is.
Yeah, and not to hide around that. But I will say, a lot is clear now. I almost don't even need to go at you anymore because I think everyone in here knows what Ty Lee's about. So he's about trolling, and he's about trolling and saying he doesn't troll. You know, like I'm not trolling. I'm totally serious. While he's trolling, your most supportive fan going through loops to still donate to you is crazy. I gotta say, I'm actually impressed. I'm blocking a guy that's trying to super chat me on a frequent amount of, but hey, that's why this show is what it is. Ty Lee, I appreciate you. Did he respond to the Joe Burrow thing? Because he's always run from that.
Did.
He did? Okay,
Yep.
let me read this.
Well, kind of.
Look at how Burrow moves in the pocket. My film was right. How has he been doing? Injured all the time. Now even questions the Bengals might trade him. He is probably
force the Bengals to trade him.
Who is the player recently that said big name player? I don't want to say it's Fred Warner, but it was like Fred Warner level player that said when they were asked who's the best quarterback in the league, he said Joe Burrow. Does anybody remember? It was during this. I think it was during the combine festivities when they started. but someone was asked who the best quarterback in the league was, and it's just like the fact that you think Joe Burrow is a bad quarterback, or look how he moves in the pocket. When I see him move in the pocket, I see him lighting cigars. You know, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Now, does he have a problem staying healthy? Yeah, but that's Tylee. That's like when you tried to twist up what you said about JSN. That said what I said about JSN. Then when it was wrong, you realized you were talking out of turn, and I said nothing of the sort, and I invented JSN. Guess what you then turned to? Well, that wasn't my main point. My main point, and you went to the next thing. So now when I ask you, what's the film show you, you say he's been injured all the time. So you're telling me his movement in the pocket, the film showed he was going to get hurt? I don't think so. So we love to know what your film is, and why is the film not come out, Tylee? It was like 2 years ago when he came in and he said that Smitty, I've got footage of Joe Burrow from a defensive guy, specialist. He's a high school coach. And he's got film on Joe Burrow that if the league finds out about, his career's over. And we all started laughing. I'm just trying to catch everybody up. Dude, my Burrow takes. Have they been wrong yet? I don't get it.
It was Fred Warner.
Was it?
Said,
okay.
Yeah. Toughest quarterback he faced in the NFL. 1,000% Joe Burrow. He's just a dog. Like, for whatever reason, his makeup is different than a lot of guys.
Not best quarterback. Who was the toughest quarterback? My fault. But that's still Fred Warner saying that. Well, let me tell you.
Face, so
yeah.
I mean that in different ways.
Yeah, but Tylee, if Fred Warner, you know who Fred Warner is, Tylee? He's not going to get this question wrong. Who's the toughest quarterback you face? He says Joe Burrow. He says he's just built different. And that's Fred Warner. Fred Warner is saying that. Fred Warner's a dog, bro. All right. I think I got all the super chats answered. I just again want to thank you, Tylee, for your super chat too. I still appreciate you just because you got. The thing about it, Tylee, is you just got to make sure you're not trying to take over a show. It's funny one show, but like probably the reason you would get banned is because you come in and you try and you'd act like you're not, like you're going to defend yourself right now. Go, I'm asking honest questions. To answer your question, which I haven't answered yet, I said I would. And I've gone over this over and over and over. He's not uber quick. He's also very small. I like him. I don't love him. I like him. Could he be T. Higgins? Sure. And I've said that over and over and over. I've never once said I don't like Mekhi Lemon. I said I don't like Mekhi Lemon as much as everybody else. And I also said that he's not in the same tier as Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate, which I have footage that if it comes out on Lemon, his career's over. You got to see the way he moves in the pocket. Mekhi Lemon, get out of the pocket. What are you doing in the pocket? When you move in the pocket, we know something's going to happen. We can see it. But also, you know, just because I don't see, there's also the eye test, my boy. I just went over that. I don't have to have anything even specifically tangible to give you other than, bro, you turn on the film, you flip the switch, you start watching players, and I say to myself, yeah, I don't see what the love is here. I like him. I think he's an NFL player. I think he certainly should be drafted, and I think he's certainly the wide receiver 3 or 4. You know, you've never heard me say he doesn't deserve to be in the league. He's going to be a bust. You've never heard anything like that. I don't know what you think you're hearing when I call him the 3 or 4 wide receiver in this class, and right. You hear something like, Smitty, you don't like Mekhi Lemon. That's your fault. You know, what's the player I'm trying to think of that this happened with? Ted McMillan. It's like Ted McMillan, and I do admit Ted's a little bit better rookie season than I anticipated. Certainly he had a good year, but I still think Ted McMillan's a little overrated. I like him a lot. I think he can be at his peak a T. Higgins type player still. I don't see him as a top 8 guy consistently. I just don't. And I think Jalen Coker is going to take a lot of his work this year. to a degree that makes him probably align with where I have him ranked, like a T. Higgins type player. But doesn't mean I hate Ted McMillan. I just don't see him in the same light as everybody else. And then some people that don't like that, they think he should be getting top 8 wide receiver respect, say Smitty hates Ted McMillan. I don't hate Ted McMillan at all. I never did.
You know what I think of Lemon like is if he gets in the right system, he can be like a Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
He's a smart. He knows what he's doing with his body. He catches the ball well, but he's not explosive. He's not really fast. Edelman's actually a little bit bigger than he was in terms of weight. But, you know, kind of a technician type receiver. He's not going to go out and blow you away with physical tools. He's not going to overpower people.
So this is where this is a perfect evidence as to what you do, Ty Lee. Smitty, 4? Come on now. First of all, I said 3-4. This is what people do. When I say something they don't like, they try and find reasons to say I'm hating. You just took my wide receiver 3 or 4, and I never said he was never 3 or 4, and you made it 4. You made it 4. So the narrative you're making about my Makai Lemon take is your fault. When you say that I don't like Makai Lemon, you're creating that narrative on the fly. And you just proved it right here by taking out the 3. And you just say number 4. So you're doing that, please. And that got my blood boiling on a bit. That's also your fault. All right, DJ, you're live.
Best show on the planet, Smitty. What's
Thanks.
up, Travis and squad?
What's up,
Let me, not much, man. Just enjoying the show, the knowledge.
Appreciate
Joe Burrow's kryptonite. You know, I'm curious to know what that is. You know what I mean?
Kylie's
it might
video.
be the Bengals.
Kylie's video. This is
Yeah,
kryptonite.
very well could be. Love to see it. Might be in a bowl. But it could be the Bengals.
His next haircut.
You know, I keep
Maybe his next Ellen DeGeneres look. Like that's the only thing I can think of that Joe Burrow might, showcase that has a little bit of a drag to his his flow. He comes out with another Ellen haircut. Yeah. Then that's the negative. That's it. Injury to injury. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. No, Joe Burrow's nice. I mean, like he is. He's a dancer in the positive moves, and he's good. I mean, he's Joe Burrow. Don't know what that'll look like in a couple of years. I'm not too sure he's going to be there. Bengals tend to have a history of quarterbacks not wanting to stay there. It sounds like otherwise.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. They don't. What's crazy? They made the right choice with Jamar Chase, and they had a very simple plan B for the offensive line drafting to try and combat all the negative. Like, you better take Penei Sewell instead of Jamar Chase, and your boy went to bat on that, and your boy said this is Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase took him to a Super Bowl like that. So it was the right call. But the Bengals had an opportunity. There's so many good second-round offensive linemen that belonged in round 1 that year. What did they do? They took a makeshift offensive lineman with their first, I believe it was the first selection in round 2 that they had. And they botched everything. They botched the entire offensive line drafting in the second round. And so they don't know what they're doing. And Joe Burrow's shot over the bow wasn't that he's getting traded this offseason. So Tylee or whoever, anybody thinks that Joe Burrow's, the Bengals want to trade him. Tylee, you're kind of making up something. The Bengals have zero interest in trading him. It's Joe Burrow that kind of maybe wants out. The Bengals have zero interest right now today in trading Joe Burrow. So you completely mischaracterized that, Tylee, like you've been doing stuff all night. But Joe Burrow's shot over the bow was, this isn't fun anymore, in so many words. And if I'm going to continue playing, and everyone's like, what in the hell? I need to have fun. And they need to build properly around me. And so the Bengals have a shot this year to do so. They should ask Joe Burrow what he wants. Last time he told him what he wants, Jamar Chase worked out pretty well. And if they fail Joe Burrow has this. There's a strong chance Joe Burrow says, "I want out. I don't believe you." And that's not Joe Burrow playing bad Ty Lee. Oh, look, he got traded. That's him forcing himself out.
Well, my understanding is, again, the Bengals are pretty frugal, always have been. And I look at that from a high-level view, 1,000-foot view, because if I'm not mistaken, I think I've said this before, their money comes from the NFL. I don't think they have any outside monies, et cetera, right? So they're pretty conservative, very frugal. And, I tell you what Burrow should get, coaches, how about that? In addition to the GM, you're letting go of what, Hendricks? I don't know what you're going to get for him. I don't know if he's a free agent. If they're not getting anything from him, they definitely don't know what the hell they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. They really don't. They really don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I'm going to pivot real quick before I get to Sadiq. A couple of things real quick here. Bills, go big, go home. I'll say the same thing for the Pats as well. I don't think you would want a Zach Branch in New England. Just the body size, body shape. I know. He'd probably be decent, good, but more gadget. I think, like you said, could be good, but nah. I don't think he fits there. Just my personal opinion.
I think New England and Buffalo are in the same exact situation. New England and Buffalo. If they don't get a wide receiver in the draft, in addition to a BTJ or an Adunze or a Pickens or an AJB or at least a free agent Mike Evans, that's a failure on their part. Failure. I'd be okay with the rookie and Dobbs or a rookie and Alec Pierce, I suppose. I think that I could get behind. I could really sign on to that. But it still would feel like maybe that's even better than, or at least Alec Pierce better than Mike Evans because it gives you some longevity as well. But if they don't do one of those things and they just go draft a rookie receiver that takes time to develop, then it's an utter failure. And it's another thing for me to say Vrabel's not a bad coach. I'm not saying that you can't do what they did, but he has so many things that he's not doing right that are getting, in a way, it's like a masking of sorts, his failures because of how good Drake May and his team was and how much they carried those mistakes. And the same thing can be said about Sirianni. And I'm not saying Sirianni and Vrabel are the same, because I think Sirianni is a horrible head coach. And I think Vrabel's very good at certain things. Like, he could get better. He can improve on all these things. But his inability to understand the need to use Hendy, regardless of Stevenson. You can play Stevenson at the same time. You can have him on the field at the same time, which they did a little bit of in the Super Bowl. But the fact that you're not throwing the ball to the tune of like 6 or 7 receptions a game to Henderson when you have no wide receiver room and you're relying on Diggs to be there one moment, not be there. And let's give Diggs credit for what he did do this year. He's good in a lot of ways, more than I expected. But you had so many vacancy opportunities to throw 6 to 7 receptions a game to Hendy. He could have been Christian McCaffrey this year, even if you didn't give him the running attempts and you just said, you know what, Stevenson's working. We like how Hendy's when he's in space. Just the inability to recognize that was such an L. And if they go ahead and not fill this wide receiver room in an aggressive way, I'm just throwing my arms up and I'm saying, what the hell do you expect Drake May to do? Because look what happened when the clamps got put down and he had no real weapons. He kind of fell apart in a lot of people's eyes. Doesn't mean that he was a rookie. Well, it's a sophomore, but like this was his, I consider this to be like his first real, shot, sophomore, but it just felt like this was his first year really getting the reins, or the training wheels taken off in a way. And it's like he carried you. He was so good. He's one of the best downfield quarterbacks we've seen in a long, long time. And he's doing it without weapons. So, sorry to get on a tangent. I'm just going to say Buffalo and New England feel very similar, that it's like inept decision-making wide receiver for New England and running back. And to the credit of the team, they may have not known they were going to be as good as they were. And that's why they didn't, in the offseason, prepare as well. They thought Diggs would be good enough, and they were going to build on this year, and then they would maybe go after somebody hardcore the next year. So there's some of that I get, but I don't know. I'm so disappointed on Hendy not being used, and I'm so sick and tired of people saying that Stevenson was good. No one cares about that take, because guess what? Monty and Gibbs worked out just fine. There's no excuse for not using Hendy in the ways that Hendy proved to be literally a top 2 or 3 running back in a 3-game span when Stevenson was out and you leaned on Hendy. He was literally probably running back 1 in fantasy football. If I had to guess, he might have been 1 or 2. In that 3-game span where he started, he was running back 1 or 2. He had 3 50-plus yard touchdown runs, and then you don't use him anymore. Like that is inept decision making to me.
Yeah, it's weird because I always thought that McDaniels, maybe in recent years, he's gotten away from it, but he's like the check down king, you know, the Falks, the out of the backfield PPR, White, you know, just that Woodhead, you know, they were getting more production in the passing game when McDaniel was there than when Hendy was, and Hendy's better, in my opinion. And you use that word again. So with regard to the Bills and the Pats, you know, accoutrements, right? You know, go big or go home. They've been drafting receivers, and I guess they're missing. Boston, big body, and I'm assuming he's a better route runner. I haven't really looked at him too tough than with Coleman because they're kind of the same build.
Yeah, definitely better than Coleman, but there is some of that, like, you know, he's not exactly polished. He's not as polished as some of these, you know, he's not a top 3 guy. Could he turn into one?
Again, going back to your point, go big or go home, man. Get these guys a receiver, both May and Allen. Eyeballs. Yeah, man. Like, this is, I mean, I agree. And I think we probably all agree. You could see it, right? You know, it doesn't necessarily have to translate always the stats. And this is what we're looking at in the next couple of months here, you know, leading up to the draft, where these guys' numbers in college, you know, aren't all that great in terms of stats. But the metrics, the eyeball test. So, you know, like you, man, I mean, I could see it, you know, and then you can look at the metrics, because you could have somebody with stats and then look at the metrics and be like, is that kind of sustainable or whatever?
Well, let me explain just the eyeball test. If you go to my Instagram and you watch Jeremiah Love out there cutting and doing his jump cuts and footwork, like, it is unbelievable. It's on my Instagram. Go watch it. And the eyeball test tells you that this is a generational talent, and his fluidity, it's Bijan. Like, Jeremiah Love is Bijan Robinson. And, you know, when we said Bijan Robinson was, I don't know, I guess who was a CMC, I guess, or whatever running back you want to use back then.
Yeah,
when we said
that makes sense.
When we said Bijan Robinson is the next CMC, people, you know, so now that Bijan's Bijan, we're not the ones that can say this. I think we're the ones that get to say this. I think we earn the right to say who the next Bijan is. Just like when we say the next Achane, people are like, you can't call that guy Achane. We predicted Achane, so how the hell can we not call the next Achane? So when I say Jeremiah Love is the next Bijan, if all goes right, he stays healthy, he lands in a good spot, all things that you can't control the health part, but the way he works, his work ethic, just the way he's built, the way he moves, he's fluid. The likelihood of landing in a good spot's almost locked. So yeah, he's pretty damn on track to be the next Bijan. That's why he's my running back number 3 overall in Dynasty. Jeremiah Love is the guy. In the eye test, the fluidity, the gut feeling is driving more of that than anything. But when you go to my Instagram and you see this video of this guy out there cutting and doing moves that are just absolutely out of this world, his footwork's insane. His spin moves electric. His speed He's got it all. It's Jahmyr Gibbs meets Bijan Robinson. It's just going to be a matter of when he hits the NFL field. Sometimes things translate quickly. Sometimes they don't. Pass protection. There's a lot of things that could maybe be a hang up on his rookie year slightly. But he's going to be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Two more things, and then Sadiq and I'll get off the phone. Just two more things. Lemon, like a slot receiver or whatever. I think they've been saying he could play on the outside. But no. In terms of a number one receiver, I don't know that he's that. I do think he has maybe Iman St. Brown, maybe on the side, because they're pretty similar in that coming out of USC. Of course, he was at another school prior to. Woody, Texans, usage, running back. Yeah, Texans are going to draft a running back. And what's weird, and I don't know why that OC was kept this year, personal opinion. How do you have the top receiving running back, not the top, maybe two, coming into the league, and you don't throw in the ball? You don't help out Stroud.
Because you got the worst offensive line in the NFL. And you have one of the least clutch quarterbacks in the NFL that I think is only getting his confidence shook even more and more and more. And honestly, you guys can say till you're blue in the face that how callous I was or whatever when I said what I said, but I said what I said. And let me just preface by saying there's nothing wrong with the grown man crying. Even if you're something happens, your dog passes away, or tragedy strikes, or you're watching a MD Motivator or Bond Gives, or any of those guys on IG that give away. Those are two amazing people. MD Motivator, Bond Gives. There's a couple other ones. When you watch them, you get teary-eyed, man. They go up to like a homeless person. This lady had like 3 kids, and they were on a blanket, living on a blanket, just without a house. And she was this poor little baby. And the part that almost makes you cry, like just a grown man just bawling, is this. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, let me preface that. That's why I'm trying to explain this. This baby looks happy because his mom loves him. He's got like a fake toy or something, and he looks happy. And you're just like, God, man. And this guy, I think it was MD Motivator, or I think it was that guy. And they raise money. They get her a house. They give her $300,000. They give her like 10 applications for a job. The house is paid off. She's got $300K in the bank. Just in a snap, this guy changed her life. She was on the street. Like, if you didn't walk down that quarter, you don't have a little tear in your eye like that. You're not a human being. So let me just preface that there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're a commander-in-chief of a team and Tank Dell tears his leg up and you're over on the sideline bawling like a baby, holding on to your teammate, it's not even like a tear in your eye, like you're mad, you're upset, or when you win the Super Bowl or Jordan's holding the trophy. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about if Jordan were to cry like a baby and hold Scottie Pippen when Cartwright injured his ankle or something, or tore his ligament and his ruptured his Achilles tendon. Bill Cartwright and Jordan were in the middle of the game. He's supposed to go up and shoot free throws. Goes up to Scottie Pippen and starts going. I'm questioning whether that man's going to lead this team. Tank Dell tore his knee, walked over on the sideline, balled into his teammate's shoulder, and I said, I'm done. I don't believe he can lead this team. I believe there's major issues here, and that's how I felt. And there are a few people that's callous, Smitty. I'm sorry, but right now, you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you think CJ Stroud: unconfident, lacking confidence, looks lost, looks injured, like he looks concerned and worried. Like that. So was my picture not?
He comes across as being pretty sensitive, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you were talking, it reminds me kind of. Who else did a lot of crying? Vermel, right? But I don't know that we looked at Vermel in the same light, right? You know what I mean?
But again, crying is not my problem.
It's okay.
And I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying over criers are good. I'm not saying that, but crying's not a problem. That's why I explained that story beforehand. But you're in the middle of the game. DJ. That's a completely different. Vermeil, like none of that's even equivalent. You're in the middle. Does a coach cry into his OC's, arms in the middle of a game? No. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about crying. I'm talking about crying in the middle of a game and getting back into a huddle and going, okay, guys, we're going to blue 32-7. And he just had a minute where he was going, and it was like a shaking, convulsive cry.
Yeah.
Where he's crying because Tank Dell got injured. Like,
right.
I tore my patellar tendon in like a YMCA basketball game. And you know what my teammates did? They picked me up, moved me off the court, and passed the ball in and started playing. They didn't shed a tear for me. And don't give me that they're NFL players or not. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like they had to play the game. Like, CJ Stroud, anyway.
Yeah. Point taken. Sadiq. Yeah, man. With his numbers, and then, like, you could see the eyeball test, and then you see him testing. It's like, oh, wow. Okay. I don't know that his numbers are outstanding or comparable to Bowers. You know what I mean? But any team could draft him. There's only a handful of teams that are secured at tight end. And I think Travis made a good point. You're having more than one tight end. You're carrying 2, 3. And this guy here, I think, is going to be utilized all over the field. So, yeah, to the moon. Curious to know where we might be drafting. I saw, earlier we were talking about, drafting. But in a dynasty rookie draft, is he going before Lemon?
Who going before Lemon?
Sadiq. So, one, Love. This is just me.
I don't know yet.
Love. 2, I like Tate more over.
I like them both.
Tyson.
Yeah. I don't hate that.
Yeah, but and Lemon is consensus. I think 3 wide receiver, maybe number 4, but. I'm thinking
Lemon could be Lemon. Let me just make it clear. Lemon by certain NFL teams could go with the first wide receiver off the board. So could Tate, so could Tyson. They're all very, very close to most NFL teams. The thing about Lemon is he's small. And so that's going to turn off a lot of teams. And you have to have the right team that likes Lemon number 1 on their board that ends up saying, yeah, we'll go wide receiver. Even if they like him and he's number 1 on their board, they might not go wide receiver. So there's a lot less chance that Lemon could go as the first wide receiver, but it's certainly in the cards because it just takes that one dancing partner that does have him number 1 on the board. And there's probably at least, I'd say 30% of the teams, if I had to guess, have Lemon 1, 25% maybe. So it just takes one. But Lemon's not, in my opinion, Lemon is, like I said, he's a good player. The expectations for him are just too high. He's smaller, and a lot of teams are going to regulate him to slot play, which isn't the end of the world because the slot wide receiver can ball out. But in today's NFL, with all the pre-snap motions, you don't even really need to be the slot wide receiver anymore. Look at JSN, for example. What you end up doing in the National Football League now with all of this, it's a pre-snap motion game. And it's also a game where you've got a lot of tighter formations. So here are the sidelines, and you typically would have a wide receiver here. You'd have a wide receiver here. And if you're on the outside, you're kind of regulated to, a short little out. You can't really do a post route. You can do, obviously, everything toward straight or to the middle of the field. And so it's kind of a limiting role in a sense, right? And a slot wide receiver that lines up on the line and your quarterback here, your running back here, your slot wide receiver can go here, he can go here, he can go here, he can go here, he can go all over the field because he's lined in tight. But how the NFL works now in so many ways is they'll line those X wide receivers and their outside wide receivers. Here's your slot wide receiver here. Here's your offensive line. Here's your quarterback. Your slot wide receiver, yes, he can do all those things, but JSN will get pulled in real tight, and now he's essentially a slot wide receiver on the outside. He can go all the way over here. He can go over here. He can go over here. The slot wide receiver doesn't necessarily mean what it used to because of the pre-snap motions, meaning you also can line up where the pre-snap motion part comes in, because that didn't explain the pre-snap motion, is if you do line him up on the outside, he's in motion. You know, he's bouncing all around, and then he comes here, and then they snap the ball, and they have a slot wide receiver here, and now he's running across, and he becomes a slot wide receiver just with the motion, even though he lined up at the beginning of the play as an outside wide receiver. So not even worried about that anymore in saying that, oh, teams will only view him as a slot wide receiver. Well, that can be good. Not as much anymore. If you're limited to one type of if you're, typecasted, position casted, role casted, it could hold you back. So, we'll see what teams think of Mekhi Lemon. Now, tomorrow's going to be big. What is Mekhi Lemon refusing? He's refusing to run, right? Travis, what else is he refusing to do? Isn't he refusing to run?
I don't think he's running. I don't know what else it is. We'll try to find it.
He's scared to run.
Yeah, it won't benefit him, I don't think.
Well, last thing, and I'll shut up and let Travis jump in and be done. But the difference is with Lemon, and it's a great point, and certainly get that. I'll use in Mecca. So I get the slot, no longer that type of being, but Lemon is limited in lining up as an X. So your point is well taken, but you could take a Mecca and move him and also line him up at the X, much like we're seeing with JSN. Ladd does it as well. So Lemon is kind of limited that, but that's a great point.
A limited Lemon. Limited Lemon. It's too.
Going back to Sadiq, that maybe, and again, I'm talking about rookie drafts. I was thinking maybe I would take Sadiq before Lemon if I'm in that 4th spot. But it's still kind of new early. If not, then 5 after Lemon. Just that tight end premium that you pointed to earlier. Last thing, then I'll hang up. If Washington, I believe, is going to draft a running back, right? But I don't know that they'll draft one in the first round.
We don't know. They could go in any direction. We really don't know. It could be wide receiver. It could be tight end. It could be running back. I don't think we could say they aren't going to do one specific thing because we have no clue.
I was going to support why I was saying that if they don't, okay. And I'm probably in the minority in this, but Bill, JCM, excuse me, I think has a chance of having that job again. So if they don't,
can I ask you why you think that? Because I'm not disagreeing that.
Test. It's the eyeball test. His vision is a little off. Going back to Woody's vision running the ball, he's got to get that. Harvey kind of has that, but Woody, which was good. They're running up in the middle, but his vision is a little off. Woody needs to be seen. JCM, Bill, eyeball test, straight up eyeball test, and then the metrics.
Yeah,
and also the coach coming out, Blau, the OC, endorsing him, as such.
Well, we'll see what happens because they definitely did not stick with him and give him the proper support and instill any confidence that they believe.
Well, he still led the team in rushes and touchdowns.
Which
was weird. Weird.
But I don't know that I feel like I don't feel like the eyeball test I'm going to use as much in that situation. I think the situation.
I get it. But best on the planet, man.
All right,
for letting me jump in.
DJ.
Thanks, later.
All right, Travis, final thoughts, and I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know if Lemon's running the 40 or not.
He's not. I just looked it up. He's refusing to run the 40, but he's at the podium doing weird. I don't know. I have that on my Instagram as well. If you guys want to go see the Jeremiah Love video, I'm going to put Sadiq's workout too on my IG tonight, so you have to check that out later. But on my Instagram, which is easy to find, it's the same name, The Fantasy Football Show. I have a Jeremiah Love video, the cutting video. I have the Sadiq video to come, and then the Makai Lemon media podium Q&A, where it's just weird. It's weird, and I'm not fading Lemon at all. Again, I'm just trying to put him in the right spot, which is he could be a T. Higgins if all goes right. And this interview or this Q&A session with Lemon didn't help because of things that we talked about tonight, like just feeling like I don't know. It was just weird. He's going viral for it. It's just weird. He has this arrogance to him that I forget who said it in the chat, but it's correct. The arrogance to him goes up to the podium and then refuses to run the 40. Like, I'm the best thing since sliced bread, ever, but I'm afraid to run. I'm afraid to run. I'm afraid because I'm not fast. I'm afraid to run. To me, that's, even looking back at MHJ, when MHJ didn't do anything and he knew he was going to be a lock to go as high as he went. And you understand it from a business perspective, but I still feel like I wouldn't be afraid to go do it. I feel like I would say, you know what? I believe in myself and I want to go out there and compete and do this. I don't know. Maybe I'd be talked out of it by my agent or whatever, but the fact that Makai Lemon's up there, being as, arrogant as he was about it all, and just, it was such a, go watch it on my Instagram. He like seduces the question and answer, crew. Like, as they're talking to him, he's like, it was Zoolander-like. It was Zoolander-like. I put it up on my Instagram. It's the weirdest eye contact you've ever seen. It's like he's seducing everyone talking to him. He's turning his head. He's looking at him. He's doing this weird, like, it just annoyed the hell out of me. It annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah, it's definitely odd. And annoying is a good way to put it, too. It was beyond weird. Like, it was very strange. Like,
I know. I had to look away. I felt like he was looking into my soul. And I was just like, stop it. Like, stop staring at me, bro. Because he was going. Like, I can't even replicate it. Go watch it. It's so weird. It's on my Instagram. It is so weird.
And they've one spot that people have had him landing potentially was the Rams, and so like that would be interesting if he ends up on a team like the Rams, because Devontae Adams is there for one more year, and then it's him and Puka, so that's a spot he could be good in. But again, like, I know Toronto, they're pushed back on the Edelman thing, but like Edelman, his best year in fantasy, he was wide receiver 8 one year. His other good years, he was like in the 14, 15, 16 range. Like,
yeah, that's what Lemon will be.
Yeah, it's a very good fantasy wide receiver. It's not an elite top 5 guy,
Yeah, Lemon reminds me of, let me think of another, if people can't accept T. Higgins, because let's say he goes to a team to be their number one. Look at what Pittman was. He's failing to be that guy. He's failing to get to that level. Like, he's just, he couldn't get there. I don't even know what comp I have for him. It's too late for me to even think about it. But he certainly, he gets into a number.
Trying to think of slot guys.
If he gets into a number one role and there's no one else around him, he's going to probably fail to deliver. If he plays as a wide receiver too, like T. Higgins, I think he'll do well. Like Waddle, like how Waddle's been his whole career. I think Makai Lemon can be similar in that. Like, what's Waddle's finishes been?
I got it.
Yeah, if you find that, let me know. Like, I'd be curious to know if Waddle would be, if I'm going to back out of that and say, never mind, Waddle was better than I think Makai Lemon will be. But I feel like that's a pretty good
Waddle
comp.
has been. So, well, this year was 24. The past 2 years before that, he was banged up a lot, 46 and 34. But his first 2 years, he was wide receiver 13 and wide receiver 8.
Okay.
And this year is wide receiver 24.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be that good.
When he wasn't hurt. He was hurt the other 2 years. So.
Yeah, I like Makai Lemon. I like him. And if everybody ranked him in an appropriate place, I think I'd have him right? Like I would feel fine. I'd be like, yeah, we're all on the same page. But I just think it's and T Higgins is his ceiling. Everything's got to go perfect for the be T Higgins. I'm not saying he'll be I'm not even saying he'll be T Higgins. I'm saying in the best light possible, everything goes correctly, lands in a great spot, he can become T Higgins. That is if everything goes to plan. I'm not expecting that.
Yeah, and there's a large contingent of people who are like, oh, he's going to go top 10. He's definitely the number one wide receiver going, and they're just locked in on him. And I think that's a little bit of fandom playing in. They bought into, and again, he can be good, but you kind of jump on a bandwagon and that's your guy and you stick with it rather than looking at the whole landscape of things. The last two things I was just going to say quick is, Sadiq too, but Stowers, like, the whole thing with Sadiq and Stowers is they're the type of guys who they're not going to be good blockers right away. But I think it's changing, and I think you're going to get offenses to put them in the right spot. And if that's the case, like, they're both freaks. I was looking it up. They had Stowers was I think the highest vertical since 2003 of any tight end, and same with his broad jump too. And so he's a freak athlete. And
yeah,
I think he could kind of profile. He might be a little more athletic, but like a McBride. They're similar size.
They're both really good.
Kind of did,
I got Sadiq higher, but I'm not oblivious that we could get a Fannin-like emergence out of Stowers as well. Because I mean, again, the position is changing, and I think that these guys look prepared. Like, they look prepared. They look more prepared, and so is Fannin. And the reason Fannin, like, we talked about Fannin all offseason, and no one else really did. I mean, someone might have, but I'm just, in general, no one else even mentioned Fannin like we did. Fannin had the production. Fannin looked exactly like Sadiq, and he moves different. He kind of plays different. He plays almost like a running back, Sadiq. But just the fact that Fannin was being used as a wide receiver practically, and he led the nation in receptions and yards over Jeremiah Smith, over Ted McMillan, over Travis Hunter. It was Fannin. Fannin was the number one wide receiver in FBS in his final year in 2024. The best wide receiver in FBS over Jeremiah Smith, over everyone, and he was a tight end. And for some reason, he fell under the radar. It's really ridiculous. People are like, Smitty, you called Fannin, it's great. It's like, part of me is like, thanks, but it's like when your dad tells you how proud he is of you and you didn't even do anything. It's like, that's kind of how I felt about Fannin. It's like, bro, he's the number one reception and yardage guy in college. Like, how did everybody not see it? I don't know. It's ridiculous. Fannin was insane. So the position, even though they were used, it was Cleveland. So you got to understand, like, if Fannin had gone where Sadiq might go, maybe Fannin would have had that year he had, but for 17 games, and we don't realize that he was prepared like Sadiq is walking in. It's just Fannin was handed a really crappy spot where Njoku was ahead of him. It was Stefanski, one of the worst coaches in the league, in my opinion. And then, so that took a while. Loveland, he had a kind of a mess of a situation, Komet in front of him. And, you have...
We said he'd take a little while.
Yeah, it could take a while. So, like, I don't think we could sit here and say that those guys weren't also really ready. And Tyler Warren looked great from the jump. It's just Danny Dimes went down and it started to fall apart even for JT. So, like, everything's explainable, and there's no reason we're not... The tight end position's ready, and it was ready last year. It's just a unique... From Tyler Warren to Loveland... to Hendy, to Harvey, to Genty. It is kind of wild, man, how all of them had weird situations, all of them, that kind of stunted their growth and created inconsistency. Woody, they're all... Who else am I even forgetting? I mean, there's the whole list is just crazy.
I mean,
Judkins,
JCM too. Like
yeah,
they didn't
JCM.
use
Look at
JCM,
Judkins.
right?
Judkins is the off the field situation, then a mix with Cleveland. Like it was the weirdest. It created PTSD where people are not objectively judging running backs right now, and any rookie really not judging rookies properly because they're scared to death like a petrified Peter.
Yeah, and that's why you do preach that the landing spot matters, and why I say, these guys that are this profile, if they end up on a team where you get one of these coaches who's hard-headed and go, you're not seeing the field until you can block, at a high level, well, that's going to slow things down a ton. But to your point, I think things are changing, especially seeing, what a Tyler Warren does right away. And then what a Loveland does when you put him in, and a Fannin when he gets a chance. Like, these teams have to be seeing that, okay, these guys are ready in the passing game.
All right, Travis, appreciate you, man.
Yeah, last thing I was just going to say was I don't know if you saw, Emmett Johnson was asked about it, and he said he had a formal meeting with the Vikings. That would be an awesome spot for him. I guess he's from Minneapolis, too.
Yeah,
cool,
Emmett
but
Johnson's a beast. You know what
even if Mason or Aaron Jones is there, that's a great spot for him to ascend to the top spot.
Someone, at least two people that we love in this rookie class are going to get royally screwed by landing spot. Example: Tate going to the Giants, and then you got Neighbors screwed as well. Dart will do fairly well from it, and then like a Jonah Coleman, Emma Johnson, Jadarian Price, Mike Washington, who we like a lot. One of these guys falling in, I don't know, Tampa Bay, or I don't know.
Tampa, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. Carolina, they could get stuck with Chuba, who takes just enough away from them.
I mean, what if Atlanta goes after Jonah Coleman as their goal line back? Like, anything can happen. Stefanski, like, yes, do it.
And especially like you said, especially if they drop and you're in the 4th or 5th round and one of these guys hasn't been taken, like anyone can take them.
Romario, appreciate you, bro. Guys, please get on over to the Fantasy Football Show. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
Yeah, while you're doing that, someone just said in the chat, Stowers was a quarterback. He was actually a 4-star recruit at quarterback.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
It is crazy when you think about it. All right, here's the... Oh, I was going to show this a minute ago. Oh, no, that's right. I was just talking about his 40 time. All right, let me get rid of this and that. Guys, get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Thefantasyfootballshow.com. Totally revamped. I just spent about 3 hours tonight alone before the show and after, like, combined. And I spent like 10 hours on it last night. I spent like 20 hours. This trade calculator, I spent 3 hours on it tonight alone, just tweaking little things. Just tweaking the littlest of things. And let's say what I added to this thing now, so you can do a dynasty trade. When you do a dynasty trade, it opens up this tab right here for draft picks. Also, you when you select, let's say, pick number 2, you go over on this side. Pick number 2 is now gone and grayed out, which is the proper way to use it. But let's say you want to do, I'm not messing around with having every pick on demand on this thing. Once we get down to this 3.1, it's the anything later than 2.12. So this one you can add as many picks as you want to that, but the draft picks are included, so you can have many anytime later than the 3.1 pick. So that's just 4.1, 5.1. Any of those picks are worth essentially the same amount of dollar value. Superflex, redraft, trade calculator, stack multiple things on this. You can't really trick it because it's using auction dollars. So you can make it the most complicated, trade known to man. Boom, 142 to 140. they win by 2. Look at the notes, the kind of logic that's in this calculator. Jahmyr Gibbs is one of somebody's top 5 favorite players to draft this year. Reset the calculator. Let's draft Christian McCaffrey. You know it's going to say something bad about Christian McCaffrey. Let's draft. Let's see here. Let me think of a player. Let's say like Henry, for example, who's got some questions. Look at this advice. Note, Christian McCaffrey is one of Smitty's top 5 avoids this season. Note, Derrick Henry has volatility that could have him finishing 5 spots above or below expectation. He is high risk, high reward. So that's telling you that if you're making this trade in redraft, you need to consider that Henry could be 5 spots above where you're paying for him and 5 spots below. So he's a high risk, high reward player. It's just amazing, this calculator. It's all on thefantasyfootballshow.com. I also spent, like 15, 20 hours over the last 2 days tweaking the draft simulator, which these new additions are unbelievable. Travis, I don't know if you got my message. I sent you this. But if you click on Dynasty, you have keepers or no keepers. If you click enter keepers, you now have an option that says assign exact slots or become or remove players. So exact spots would be let's put Hampton in round 3 at pick number 3.5, and that's where you're drafting. So right here you're going to put that I'm the 5th pick, and that will be the player that you're writing into your draft. Now, if you want to write in your entire leagues, let's say everybody keeps 1 player, you can literally go through the motions. Let me just show you what this looks like. I'll put Jahmyr Gibbs at 2.1, and then that way. Okay, so then let's just run the draft. Let's say you entered all your keepers in, and then you hit draft. So now we're on the clock here at the 1.5. As you'll notice, that Gibbs is not available or has not been drafted yet. But if we go to running backs, Gibbs is not available because he's going to be written in. So let's just say we took Genty here. Now it goes to this pick right here. You'll see that at 2.1, Jahmyr Gibbs is written in, and it shows keeper value here. Let's make this selection here. Make this selection here. Where did we write in a player? What did I write in a player on?
Oh crap!
Let me restart it. Okay. So let's say 3 point. Let's give myself the 1 pick, and let's get rid of this, and let's just write in Hampton just so I can show it in motion. So the 1 pick would give us the 1 pick would give us, if we're going around 3, we give us the 3.1. So we'll write Hampton into the 3.1. So we're on the clock here. We draft. We're on the clock again. And now when you're on the clock, look what it says at the top. It says Marion Hampton is assigned to this slot. Confirm keeper. So then you just draft him. Boom. It's you can enter in all your keepers, and it's just an unbelievable addition. And then if you do a keeper draft, but you don't want to assign keepers, you just want to remove players, you can just remove these players from the player pool so that you can do the draft without them. So like, let's say all these players are kept, but you're not writing them in necessarily. It's just you're starting from round 3. So round 3 really becomes round 1 or whatever. Then we're just removing, you start the draft, and those players are no longer in the draft pool. So there's just multiple ways to use this draft simulator. There's going to be nothing around like it. The calculator is off the hook. The lineup analyzer is unbelievable. We'll go to running backs. We'll go Bijan. We'll add another player here. We'll go running back again, and we'll add Breece Hall. We'll go running back again, and we'll add, let's add Bucky. We calculate for PPR. Bijan, 90 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 receptions for 49 yards, 24 points. Breece Hall, 80 and a touch, 4 for 35. Bucky, as you can see, 55, 1 TD, 4 receptions, 35 yards. We scroll up and we hit 0.5 PPR, it'll automatically adjust these. If we go up and put non-PPR, it'll automatically adjust these. They all go down in value. Reset the calculator. Or actually, You just, if you want to know what the weekly rankings are, you come over and you click this white weekly rankings button. Boom. This is the week 1 rankings for all players. Want to hide it? Click the hide button. Go back to the lineup analyzer. So your weekly rankings and your lineup decision-making calculator all on the same page. This is all at thefantasyfootballshow.com. Buy, sells, bold predictions, rankings. The rankings are unbelievable. You can redline everything if you wanted to redline them. You're not going to save this, but you can click on this create custom ranking, and this will cache it for as long as your cache doesn't clear. And you can set one ranking if you want to do dynasty, non-PPR, generate rankings, drag and drop these around. It will save this. So if you want to double click on them and draft, you can draft on, follow along and draft. It's auto saving. You don't have to save anything. If you clear your cache or if you change devices, it won't carry over. It's just meant to be a medium term holding, saving ranking of sorts, and you can clear it at any time, and then it will put you back on the screen because you can only hold one at a time. But you can hold one at a time on each browser or each device, so you could have it, because it's using your cache. This is just, there's going to be nothing like this site. You guys are going to absolutely love it. There's 2 ways you can purchase it. Everything lifetime for $199, or you can get the all access pass per season for $59. Your choice. Thought about creating another package that would be just the tools, but I don't know. I think this is pretty good right there. So much time put into those tools. They're the best out there, in my opinion. All right, Travis.
Yep.
Later, bro.
See you tomorrow. Thanks, Smitty. Bye.
Yep. All right, guys. Appreciate every single one of you live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to get on over to Underdog. We'll start drafting really soon. As soon as the rookies land and we're going to have the Best Ball Mania and everything, we'll be drafting pretty much every night at midnight. Code Smitty, link in description. Underdog will match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. Play $5 and get 75 in bonus entries. So get on over to the link in my description of this video if you're watching on Rumble or on YouTube, and click that link and sign up and be ready to go. And so you don't have to scramble to sign up before we draft. Again, don't forget to get on over to, I got to update this. This is the old look of the site, thefantasyfootballshow.com. Check out all the bold predictions, the trade calculator, the draft simulator, the lineup analyzer, everything over at thefantasyfootballshow.com. And don't forget the Patreon, 365, 24/7 live chatting, link in the description. See you all later tomorrow. Don't forget the Combine. We'll be going live on all that stuff tomorrow at some point, maybe multiple times. May go live I'm not sure if I'm going to go live in the morning right when it all starts, or we'll have to see, or I do like a recap after. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it tomorrow, but stay tuned, stay glued. See you all later. Appreciate every single one of you. Merch is the new merch with the new logos are at thefantasyfootballshow.com/merch. /merch. Do it live. Thank you, Rumble. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Super Chatters. Thank you to Jesse. Thank you to Romario for the $20 holler. Romario, you monster. Samuel, appreciate you. Ray G, appreciate you. Kylie, thank you for the super chat. Try and come in with a little less aggressive, tone, so you don't get knocked out by a mod again, bro. Because you're bringing a little rough tonight. So maybe try to just become one of the people. Thank you to all my Rumblers. Rumble, you guys rock. Where are you at? Rumblers, who was first in the building tonight? First was Mikey. Mikey, appreciate you. Aldi, Bare Bones, 420 man, Teflon, Aldi, FDX, appreciate you. D Money, appreciate you. Bare Bones, you're the man. See you all tomorrow, probably multiple times. Later.